August 12, daytime. Ukraine uses S-200 missiles and drones. Attack on Crimean bridge. Multiple explosions were heard near the bridge at the same time. The pictures we see now were taken by local people. At least 8 areas of smoke can be seen in the picture. According to the Russian Ministry of Defense, Ukrainian missiles discovered and intercepted by Russian air defense systems. And the smoke released. It was a smoke grenade launched by the Russian defenders, used to interfere with Ukrainian missiles. But to be honest, smoke bombs have no interference effect on missiles. Drones used in Ukraine also have infrared imaging, not affected by smoke bombs. This Ukrainian attack used S-200 missiles. The S-200 is an anti-aircraft missile produced during the Soviet period. Some friends will think about it. Anti-aircraft missiles are used to fight aircraft. Why is it used to hit ground targets now? Of course that's possible. Russia once used its own S-300 air defense missile, used to attack targets in Ukraine. In fact, no matter the cost or guidance method of anti-aircraft missiles, they are all more complex than ordinary ballistic missiles. The missile uses inertial guidance after launch, or accept instructions from the ground to modify the path, or use GPS guidance. And at the end, it needs to rely on the active radar seeker of the missile to turn on, determine the target location, and conduct the final interception. Air targets are constantly moving. Therefore, air defense missiles must have active radars, or semi-active radar guidance, real-time tracking of moving targets. The ground target is fixed. No active radar guidance required. Therefore, it is easier to use anti-aircraft missiles to hit ground targets. Just calculate the trajectory. Just use inertial guidance to launch the missile. Russia has used this method before. Launch S-300. Used to attack Ukrainian cities. The S-200 was developed by the Soviet Union in the 1960s. Old anti-aircraft missile. Radio commands and active radar guidance are used. Ukraine has acquired a large number of anti-aircraft missiles provided by the West. For example, American Patriots and Italian Aster. After NASAMS in Norway, no longer rely on old Soviet-era missiles. So I took out the S-200 inventory in my hand. Attack on Crimea. This is actually a very effective way. It brings 2 benefits. The first one is that the S-200 has a long enough range. The ordinary S-200 uses 2-stroke solid rocket main motor. That's a different model. Their range can reach 200 to 400 kilometers. The range mentioned here is 200 to 400 kilometers. Refers to S-200. Its range when used as an anti-aircraft missile. If you converted it into a ballistic missile, then after the missile reaches its highest point at high altitude, it will continue to fall and fly forward. Then its range will be further extended. There is no problem reaching 500 or even 600 kilometers. With such a range, let alone reach Crimea. It's even possible to hit Moscow. Second reason. S-200 is Ukraine's own weapon. Attack on the Kerch Bridge in Crimea won't cause too much controversy. Currently in Ukraine's weapons arsenal, like the Storm Shadow cruise missiles provided by the UK and France, enough range to cover the Crimean bridge. But Ukraine has not used Storm Shadow missiles so far. Attack on the Crimean bridge. But the Storm Shadow missiles have been used repeatedly. Attack on the region connecting Crimea and Kherson. Jongar Bridge. Why? Most likely it's a Western country. Some kind of agreement was reached with Ukraine. Weapons provided by Western countries can be used by Ukraine. Used to attack territory that originally belonged to Ukraine. Such as Crimea, such as Zaporozhye. But the Kerch Bridge in Crimea, located between mainland Russia and Crimea. So it is very likely that Western countries did not allow Ukraine to use these weapons to attack the Kerch Bridge. Ukraine uses S-200 to attack Russian military targets. This is not the first time. As early as July this year, Ukraine uses S-200 surface-to-air missiles. Attacked the Crimean Peninsula. Even Russia itself. Some military targets in the Rostov region. As early as November 2, 2022. North Korea once used S-200 missiles to deter South Korea. There's a missile falling in the distance. 60 kilometers off the coast of South Korea. South Korea was very nervous at that time. I'm still wondering if this is some new North Korean weapon. So I spent a lot of money to recover this missile. As a result, it was discovered. It's not a modern North Korean ballistic missile, but the old Soviet S-200 missile. Has no intelligence value. As an old weapon that has been in service for more than 50 or 60 years. S-200 has been gradually phased out by Ukraine. The main reason is because of its electronic components and system aging. No longer suitable for modern warfare. So the S-200 missile launched by Ukraine this time. There is nothing surprising about being intercepted by Russia. After all, it is a weapon from 60 years ago. Its purpose is still an anti-aircraft missile. In 2010, Ukraine still has the last 4 S-200 operators. Anti-aircraft missile battery. But by 2013, reports show all Ukrainian S-200 missiles have been decommissioned. Now Ukraine will no longer use surface-to-air missiles. Take it out and modify it. Used as ballistic missile. It can be said that everything is put to good use. In stock in Ukraine. There are still many unused S-200 missiles. These missiles are used to attack current military targets on Crimea. No problem at all. This will give the Russian defenders causes extremely huge psychological pressure. Russia had to move limited air defense systems deployed at one's own rear guards like Crimean bridges, military airfields, ammunition depots, important military towns. These low-cost missiles, combined with low-cost suicide drones, will bring considerable pressure to the Russian front line. And on August 12, a video released by the Ukrainian army shown over the past period of time. Ukraine uses suicide drone. Images of the attack on the Russian Navy. You can see in these pictures. These unmanned boats are flexible, dodging bullets fired by Russian warships. And at the end of the video screen, a Russian warship was hit and set on fire. These low-cost suicide drones work. The most obvious result is the current area of operations of the Russian Black Sea Fleet be further compressed. The Black Sea Fleet currently dares not approach at all territorial waters of Ukraine. Even hiding in one's own port is unsafe. In addition to missiles and unmanned boats. Recently, Ukraine has frequently launched attacks on Russia. Launch a drone attack. Now everyone is used to it. The video we are seeing now. It was taken by Russian people. A Ukrainian drone flies over Moscow. This video was taken on August 11th. And on the same day, Shown in another video. Moscow citizens drive their cars. I saw a Ukrainian drone flying overhead. And in another video. It's the citizens of Moscow. Boating race on the Moskva River. And in the distance you can see a building in Moscow. Hit by a Ukrainian drone. In this video shot by a Russian resident. Thick smoke can be seen after the drone hits. And residents of Russia said. Expressed disbelief over Ukrainian drone hit in Moscow. And her husband said. Moscow airport was closed for a time. A year ago, when Putin started this war. I must not have thought of it. Ukraine's suicide drone flies overhead. Flying into Moscow's airspace. The bridge connecting Crimea to mainland Russia. We were also repeatedly attacked by Ukrainian missiles and drones. And unmanned speedboat attacks. What's more important is that as long as the war doesn't stop, such attacks will continue. Withdraw from Ukraine and end the war would be the invaders' only option. This is the Wealth Accumulation Channel. See you in the next episode.